Hello, I'm Robin and welcome back to the Dreadbox Dysmetria. I have it here, I've built it. I've done a nice, long, juicy, detailed build of the Dreadbox Dysmetria, which you can go and see on another video in the channel. This video now is purely about the testing and the calibration. Now, these are the things that do you in at the end of a big build. You've spent all that time, invested all that energy and enthusiasm into soldering and building and constructing this synthesizer. And then the bit at the end where you have to calibrate it always seems to be the most difficult. It's because you've spent hours getting to that point and you're tired and you just want it to make sound and you're fiddling around with pitches and calibrations and with tuners and oscilloscopes just going, oh, it's too much, it's too much. So I've decided to put this video separately so that once you've built your Dysmetria, you can go away, go to the pub, come back the next day, load up this video, and then we can talk about all of the fabulously frustrating elements of calibrating a synthesizer. Because we love it. Oh, we do. We love it, yes. So this is that bit. I haven't pre-done it. I don't know what's going to happen. So this is my Dysmetria that I built just the other day. And now we're going to go through the testing document, which is available on the Dreadbox website. And let's see what happens. Let's stumble our way through. Let's see if we can get this working. Because the first thing that occurs to me, having this here, is that there are trimmers. There are trimmers on the PCBs. Now the PCBs are now inside the synthesizer. So I imagine at some point very, very soon, I'm going to have to take it all apart again. So first of all, what do we need for this testing and calibration? Well, first of all, you need your built Dysmetria. You need a MIDI keyboard. It has a MIDI to TRS adapter that comes in the box, so you can plug yourself into that. You'll need some kind of scope or tuner. I mean, I've got this scope here, which I picked up from eBay. From China, which is great. It's great, it shows you waveforms and stuff, but I have no clue how to use the information on this scope to actually figure out what the hertz is and if that's the right frequency and things like that. So this kind of useful for watching waveforms, not that useful from my point of view because I don't understand it enough to actually measure anything. Now, if you happen to have picked up one of the Korg NTS2s with the new patch and tweak book, then that is absolutely ideal because it has a tuner setting on it. Because I've got the O'Toole scope here, which is great for waveforms. I struggle with it as a tuner. I find it quite difficult and fussy, but that's what I've got. That's what I'm going to have to go with. I mean, you might have a tuner on your phone that would work just as well. I don't know, who knows? We're going to get through this together to see where we get, to see if we can get those bloody oscillators sounding right over an octave. Because, I mean, I have plugged this in, so I know that somewhere there is a sound that it can make. There we go. But I also know that the octaves are not exactly bang on. That first one is pretty close. Oscillator 2, all over the place, and they're not remotely tuned to each other. So there's a bit of work, I think, that's required to pull the whole thing together. But before we do that, we have to check through the unit. Now, the tuning manual takes you through testing every aspect of the synth, which is brilliant. Let's do that. So the first thing you have to do is set it up how they show you in the manual. So this has to be on play. Don't worry about that. Those are down. It's mostly everything down, I have to say. Those two up on square wave. Those two up. Decay 100%. Tune all the way down. VCO 1 up. Those two down. Cut all the way up. Resonance and decay down. Envelope in the middle. That's your first starting point. Then it says play a note on your MIDI keyboard. Great, it works. That's our first thing done. So when you do that, the little button here should light. And then we've got this lovely long decay because we've got the decay set up to 100%. So once that gets to the end, it suggests going to clear on your knob here and then pressing the flashing yes button. That should clear any sequence which is in there or that you've already put in there by accident. Put it back to play, and the synth apparently should be playing a very slow drone of the same note. But I'm not hearing anything. You hear anything? I'm not hearing anything. Maybe we should press play on here. There we go. There we go. So it says press stop and then wind this down to nothing and the sound should stop. It does. So this is working. Put that back up. Press play. Leave it playing. Pitch set to max. And you should hear it change tune on every new note. Yeah? Good. Put that back again. Patch the velocity slider here. Careful, it's a little rocky here because there's no corner stand. The standoffs are just sort of slightly in the middle, so when you plug it in over here you do tend to make it pitch up a little bit. So patch velocity out to FM in. Now nothing will change, it says, as the velocity is at 0, but if you put it to max then you should hear an engine-like sound. I don't know about you, but that's not really doing anything different. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. I mean, I don't understand FM at best of times, so I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry too much. Let's move on and see if everything else is working, and we can worry about FM at a later date. So remove from the FM in and send to CV in, which is here. See, I don't know that that is FM in. Maybe it should be pitch in. No, but that's out. That's pitch out. Is that in? That must be in. But then, are these in or out? CV? I don't know. These triangles here, I'm not sure which way up they're supposed to be or if they indicate anything at all. So let's just carry on with what it's saying. So we've got to put this into CV in, which has to be there. And when we put that up to the top, we should then get very high pitch. Possibly even inaudible. So let's put it down a little bit and you should be able to hear that. So from that we know that velocity is working. Yeah? We know that that's working because it's affected this. So the thing with the FM, I don't know, we'll just have to look at it later. So CV in, that works, goes really high. Put it into CV1 and it should do the same. Woo! Really high. On the mixer, set VCO1 to 0, then connect the velocity out to the VCO1. And it should become audible again, because the velocity is now raising the level on the mixer. Do the same for VCO2. Do the same for noise. Great. Turn VCO2 level up and patch velocity to tune 2. It should go really high pitched again. Yeah, there it is. Okay, turn cut all the way down. Patch velocity to cut. There we go. So that's opening the filter. Set the cut to 50% and put velocity to resonance. And the filter should now self-oscillate. Which it does. So now patch pitch, that one, to noise. Set the pitch slider to max. And the pitch of the synth should rise, but also the noise should disappear. So the pitch goes up. Can't hear it too much. Right, put the filter back up again so it's fully open. Patch pitch to noise. There's noise. As we bring this up, so with pitch patched to noise, set the pitch slider to maximum, the pitch of the synth should rise and the noise should disappear. I can't really hear that, but I'm going to go with it. So now set the pitch to 0 and patch the decay to CV in. Decay, this one, to CV in. Set the decay slider 50%. There you go. Then it says work with things so they do as you expect them to. So there we go. I mean, on the whole, that seemed to work. Everything appears to be doing what it should, or at least I think so. I mean, the FM slider seems to do something. It just really wasn't quite testing out as detailed in the manual. But again, I'm just not bothered by these things. I'm making the absolute assumption that it kind of works. In fact, I could probably take a patch from something else. Like if I take the output of an oscillator over here and plug that into FM in. There's definitely stuff going on, you know. Nice. So I'm not worried about that FM input, particularly, or the pitch to noise thing. I'm not worried about that either. On the whole, it feels very much like this is doing what it should do. So my build was pretty much successful. If something isn't working, if you're going through this and a lot of it is just not doing what it says, then that's the point you're going to need to take it apart and go and have a look at your solder joints to see what happened. Did it all go wrong? Did you cross streams? Did you bridge things? Have you got too much solder that's connecting things together that shouldn't be there, or not enough solder? It's always difficult dealing with a DIY build that hasn't quite come off. It's difficult. I've got no immediate answer for that, other than you just have to take the methodical approach. You have to look at every board with a magnifying glass. Look at it. If there's anything that looks like it's not soldered correctly, doesn't have quite enough solder on it, or has too much, then redo it, reflow them. That means just heating it up until the solder melts, maybe putting a bit more on, maybe taking some off and putting it back on again. Check through it. That's the only thing you can do. There's no other magic answer, sadly. But looks like I got away with it, so how much do I care about your build? None at all, I think you'll find. So from here, we now need to get into that thorny issue of calibration. Let's have a look. Tuning and calibration. So, step 1 is to set up the 1 volt per octave output. Method A. So what does that mean? There's a couple of methods. Method B. Okay, which is better? So remove the bottom stand so you can easily detach the 2 PCBs. Right, so here we go. This is the situation where we're going to have to get into the case. So, back to our Dysmetria. It says, remove the bottom stands so you can detach the PCBs. So I'm assuming that means all of these. Not that one though, that's just on its own screw. Now what I'm really hoping is that everything we need is on this bottom board, so that we don't have to take the front panel off and unscrew all those knobs. So I've taken off the stands except for this one. This should rock itself off. Don't pull it apart. Don't pull it apart quite yet. Like I just did a moment ago. Don't pull it apart. You need to keep it together because you need to do some jiggery pokery on the front here first before you pull it apart. Okay, so it's all still together. It's just a little bit wobbly. That's okay. So we're going to power it up by plugging that in. There you go, it's still plugged in. And it says set the pitch slider to 0 and then 100. So with the pitch slider at maximum, we now want to detach the bottom from the top. And you don't take the power out, you keep the power in because you want the main board to keep that setting. Okay, so the pitch is at maximum. I'm just going to put everything back to kind of where it was originally on that first testing. Okay, so that's all good, and I'm going to put this down to 0 and then put it up to 100. So with that at maximum, detach the bottom board carefully. So it's connected here where the header is, so that's just where you need to pull at it a little bit gently. don't mind saying I'm a bit nervous about all of that business, taking it off while it's still plugged in. Anyway, so measure as so shown in the photo. So what is this supposed to be set to? I have no clue. Hang on. So measure in the photo and set the 1 volt per octave trimmer so you get as close as to 8 as possible. So what are we actually measuring? Volts, DC. So DC volts on here. And we need to be measuring on this bit here. Set the trimmer. So I'm going to need a little screwdriver. So we appear to be looking at this one here. Measure as shown. So there's a couple of points to the north of it. No, this is not right. I'm not looking at the right place, or am I? And these two bits here. So it's setting it like this. Zoom in a little bit. And there's these two little holes here and here. Red in the other. Right. What are we expecting to get? Measure as shown in the photo and set 1 volt octave trimmer so that you get as close to 8 as possible. You'd be done. This is usually be close to fully clockwise. Now, there's nothing to tell me what the 1 volt per octave trimmer is. Nothing. I mean, is it? I'm assuming it's this one. Is it that one? The one that it's next to? Okay. Well, this one here then. Let's turn it all the way clockwise. It is already all the way clockwise. And I'm getting 1.5 millivolts. I've got a bit of a clue. Looking from the underside, we have some labelling on the trimmers. We've got scale and tune for oscillator 1 and 2. Got noise level. Now the one for the 1 volt per octave is hidden by the power board here, so you can't get to it from the underside. So you can only access it from this side, and it is this one. It is this one here. Now what I'm not sure about anything at the moment, but I'm just not sure what this 8 is. I'm assuming it's 8 volts because that's going to be the 1 volt per octave, 8 volts, 8 octaves. That seems to be about right, but I'm not getting anywhere near that. So I'm going to unplug it, turn this all the way clockwise, it says, all the way. Doesn't go a whole lot of distance, all the way clockwise. plug it back in, I get minus 4.2 millivolts. That doesn't make any sense. And turning this trimmer makes sod all difference to anything. Right, let's put it back together. Measure these two bits. Okay. 8 volts. There. Okay, so I just went through some kind of rabbit hole of nonsense where I was not getting what I thought I should be getting out of here. So what I did, I put it back together, did the whole pitch thing up and down again, made sure all of the other controls were sort of essentially zeroed, taking it apart carefully, and now, bloody hell, if I haven't got... oh, it's gone away again. If I didn't have 8 volts sitting there a moment ago, now it's gone away. Oh, this is weird. It was there, I had it. Now it's gone. Maybe there's something, maybe the voltage is decaying. Maybe there's an element of that involved. Right, one more try. Okay, I'm going to unplug it. Plug this back in. Sorry about the bleeding lawnmower. Plug it back in. Okay. This time, I'm going to set it playing, just for fun. Put the decay all the way up, the tune down. Everything else is cool. So this should be on 0. Then it should go up to 100%. Then I'm going to take it apart and measure it really quickly. As shown. No, I've got 4 volts. 4.2 volts. But at least it's a voltage, right? At least it's a voltage. Now, if I can hold that like that and try to... oh look, 8 volts. There we go, even better. 7.98. I'm just going to adjust this. There we go, 8 volts, 8 volts. I'm going to adjust the trimmer to give me 8. Like that. I'm going to call that a good one. That's fine. Okay. Right, so there we put it back together again. I do not understand that. It must be something to do with wobbly cables. Who knows? Anyway, like I said, this bit is just tricky. Don't care who you are. It's just tricky. So, remove US power, reassemble the unit. Okay, and now we can tune the stuff because we have access to all of the trimmers from the underside, so we can put this bit back together again. Good grief. I'm holding it together. Just keep holding it together. That's what's important at this point. So I think, I don't know, all I can say on that is just keep trying. Keep trying, because who knows what you're doing wrong. When you have like not a whole lot of information, then all you could do is just keep trying and try again and then do it again and then try it again and so on and so forth. Anyway, so let's plug this back in and we're going to get to the tuning of the oscillators. So this hopefully should be a breeze now. We've got the 1 volt per octave bit set. So for this we're going to need a MIDI keyboard. And we need the MIDI to TRS adapter, which came in the box. Plug that into MIDI. So is that MIDI out? MIDI with the arrow out? Clock that to that? Is that out, in? Is that out? I don't know. I don't know what the triangles mean. But we're going to go for that like that. And we're going to take an output. And plug it into something we can hear. Okay, good. Set it up as shown. Right, okay, so let's have a look. Decay all the way up, tune all the way down, that on play, that up, all of those down, down, up, down, middle. Okay. Connect to a tuner, if you have one available. Find the lowest C note. To do this, play the keyboard to the lowest possible octave, so all the octaves down on here. And observe at where it actually starts to respond to pitch messages. Okay, it starts changing pitch about there. Note that it will always respond to gate messages. Yeah, might not be able to apply a pitch because it's too low. Now you've found your lowest octave, go to the third responding octave and hit an A note. The third responding octave? What the heck does that mean? Oh my goodness. Right. Okay, so we've found our lowest C. Seems to be here. Then it says we want to go up to the third corresponding octave and hit an A note. So that's one. So that's the second octave. I don't know, where is the third corresponding octave? So this is my lowest C. That's 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves. So should that be 110? I think so. That's the third A. So I need to adjust the trimmer on the underside of the Dysmetria on VCO1. I think. Oh, this is going to be tricky. Okay, VCO1, tune. Let's stick something in there. And try on my scope over here to get it down to 110. See, if that's saying A2, that's what it is. No, that's exactly what it is. There we go, that's pretty damn close. There, let's call it, I'll call it 110. Can you see that? So it looks like 110 to me, definitely looks like 110. I'm just going to bring this in a little bit so maybe you can see that a bit clearer, possibly. Right, so we did that. Then play an A note 3 octaves higher. So we're here. 1, 2, 3. Adjust the scale trimmer so it shows an A but at 880. So VCO1 scale. Alright, close enough. Close enough. Now repeat this process until both notes are perfectly in tune. Alright. See, I don't think that's far off. That's dropped a tiny bit. So I could tune up a little bit. See, that's close enough. That's close enough for me, otherwise I could be here all week. But that'll do. So there's a bit of error, especially on the high frequencies expected, with a maximum error of around 5 to 10 cents. Well, yeah, roughly. Then close. So we've done that one. Let's do VCO2 and do the same thing. So you put down VCO1, put up VCO2. So there's my octave, starting to change in pitch, so I know that's the lowest C. I then choose the third A, 1, 2, 3, which should be 110 Hertz. So now I'm on VCO2, which is this one here. Go to tune. That's as far as that's going, oddly, so I'm going to have to scale it down a bit. And tune it back up again. So it's suggesting you want to get within 5 to 10 cents. Tiniest little movements. That'll do. That'll do. That's within a cent or two. Then go up, and we should be on 880. And so we go to scale. Not bad. Back down 3. That's 110. I'm gonna. Oh, that's good enough. That's close enough for me. That'll do. Right. So that's good. Step 3, noise level. Noise level trimmer adjusts how loud the noise will be. Not a specific way to adjust this. Depends on your user's taste. Okay. Have the unit play in a sequence. Alright, we've got to know how to do that, have we? So, I don't know how you do that. Well, how about what we could do, before we set the noise level, we could just play with the two oscillators to see whether they sound about right. See, that sounds good. Let's bring in the second oscillator. Oh, that's nice! I guess ultimately it comes down to what you like a pair of oscillators to sound like. I love a little bit of detuning, so I'm completely happy with how that's sounding. But if you're not, then what you need to do is get into those tuning and scaling controls, those trimmers, and just keep on tweaking it, because what's happening is that you're tuning it, and then the scaling it is pushing it in and out like that. So whenever you tune it, it brings everything up and down a little bit, and then when you scale it at the top end, it's just trying to recapture that, but in doing so it pushes the bottom end down a little bit as well, so you just have to then retune. So there's this kind of constant moving about that you're trying to get to hit right on the spot that you want it. That's what you're trying to do. This at the moment is good enough for me. I might fiddle about with it later, who knows. Moving on to the noise level. So the noise trimmer is another one underneath. How loud you want the noise to be? Well, who knows? So it says have the unit play in a sequence. Now I wonder if I stick it in record, does that mean I can record something? Like that. Yeah, to a degree. Set the amp decay to 50%, cut to 50%, resonance to max, decay to 0, filter envelope to 50, all mixer off. On the FM part, switch 1 to noise, switch 2 to cut, FM to max. Woo! Then adjust the noise trigger for taste. He reckons about 9 o'clock. So the noise one is here. That's the wrong screwdriver. Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know what I'm trying to achieve there, but never mind. That's just another thing that you can do. Okay, a rare scale fix. In some cases, an oscillator may not have enough range to correctly scale its frequencies, and for that case there's a little modification required. The part we need to replace is the 2K7 resistor, located exactly below and to the centre of the scale trimmer. Okay, ideally you should replace this with a new resistor with a value of 1K8 up to 2K2. If you do not have such a resistor, you can use the leftover parts you have from this kit by following the instructions. Gee whiz. Well, as far as I'm aware, I haven't encountered that, so there's not really much I can do in demonstrating how that should work. All I can suggest is that you follow the instructions, and that would seem odd and difficult if that's the situation that you're in. I mean, when I tested the second oscillator, we found it couldn't go up to 110 Hertz on the A, but I just adjusted the scale and that enabled us to do that. So that was the only problem that I ran into, and then it seemed to scale all right as far as I could see. So it says that it's a rare problem, and so if you encounter that, I am really terribly sorry. follow the instructions. You might have to take a resistor out and put a different one in. But the instructions are fully there that will show you how to do it. Oh, look. It even shows you how to put one on the other side. Interesting. Yeah, clever stuff. Clever stuff. Good. Well, I think we're there. I think that's enough. I think we got there. I think I've got a little thing going on. Well, there we go. I mean, the Dysmetria. I'm just plumping in a bit of arpeggiation from the key step 37, messing about as a little synthesizer. That's gorgeous. That's really nice. A lot of fun to play with. Haven't even got into the sequencer yet. How do you use the sequencer? I have no clue. I'm going to need to look into that, I think. Right, just off the top of my head, right, I'm going to stick it into record. I'm going to put this to a pitch. hit a note, put it to another pit, hit another note, another note, another note, put a rest in, another note, another note, another note, rest in, another note, rest, another note, rest, another note, rest, another note, then press to go together for an end, then put it to play, see what happens. Cool, so there you go, the calibration and testing and tuning of the Dysmetria in my own kind of bundled, fudged through kind of way. I hope that was helpful. And in the meantime, go make some tunes.